Let's talk about the things you need to do after warm-up to make sure your race is the best it can be. But first, let's hit that like button, please and thank you. You're gonna like it. Things that you have to do between warm-up and your race that if you don't do all three of these things, it will hurt your swim. And swimmers are terrible about doing all three of these things. So let's get into them and get them right. Now, the first thing you've got to get right is time. How much time should you have between warm-up and racing? There really isn't a right answer here. There are some wrong answers. An hour, for instance, is definitely too long. But the standard tends to be about 30 minutes. You have some top-level swimmers who like to go straight from warm-up in their tech suit to the block because mentally, that's how they feel most prepared to race. Standard, again, is 30 minutes. I go for 40 to 45. But what happens if you get stuck in that situation where the meet is running long, you didn't pay attention to the timeline, whatever, and you're looking at that timeline, the heat sheet going, oh shoot, they're on 42. They're supposed to be on 48. Oh, this is going to be at least another 20 minutes. Well, you either have to get back in, which is the best answer, but everybody hates doing that, or you've got to do some serious activation. Not the kind of light stuff that we're going to talk about in just a minute, but like serious activation that kind of replicates what you would be doing if you got back in. So yeah, you're working on mobility and some dynamic stretching, but also throwing in some push-ups and some jump squats. The second thing you have to get right is staying warm. And this has been a battle between swimmers and coaches and swimmers and parents since the beginning of time. And I cannot understand why, even though, yes, I myself, as an age group swimmer and a high school swimmer, and maybe even a college swimmer, was not that great about it. But swimmers are terrible about this. Let's talk about what you're doing in warm-up to understand why you need to stay warm after warm-up. In those 30 to 40 minutes that you are in the water, what are you trying to do? You are trying to get ready to race, right? So you're getting your blood pumping, your heart rate up, your muscles loose, limber, explosive, quick, ready to go, right? All of that requires building up heat, getting your muscles warm. I think we can all agree on all of that. Now, the moment you get out of the water, whether you have 5 minutes to your race or 45 minutes to your race, you are leaking heat. And every single swimmer who doesn't like to wear clothes says the same thing. I'm not cold. I'm not cold. It doesn't matter. It is just a scientific fact that you are losing heat. And when you lose heat, you lose the ability to make your muscles do what they want, what you need them to do. Whether it is cranking those ankles out in breaststroke, which is why we wear the shoes, to keep our ankles and our feet warm and be able to explode off those blocks, or the legs to be able to explode off the blocks and do that heavy kicking, arms, whatever it is. You have to trap all of that heat because trapping that heat means trapping the ability to go fast. Now, I've taken the liberty of putting together some outfits for you, some ensembles, if you will, things that I see at every single meet on the pool deck that represent the do's and don'ts of staying warm. Let's take a look. No, no, hell no. Almost there, just missing the shoes. Yes. Your goal is to be covered head to toe so that you are on the verge of sweating or just barely sweating. That means you are retaining heat and retaining the ability to go fast. So every single inch of you basically needs to be covered unless it's a warm pool deck, you're outside and it's very warm. Maybe you don't need the hoodie over your head, but you want to err on the side of being too warm because anything less than being on the verge of sweating means that your muscles are losing heat and tightening up. All right, the third thing that you have to get right between warm-up and racing is that age-old question, do you sit or do you stand? And conventional thinking has always said, sit. Get off your feet. In fact, that's all coaches used to say to us. They're always honest. Get off your feet, rest. And our own nervousness tells us, oh, I better sit. I better conserve my energy. I've worked so hard all year long to do this. I don't want to blow it now in these few minutes. And think about how absurd that sounds when you say it out loud. You're an athlete training hours upon hours. what is standing on your feet really going to do? And let's go back to warm up. What we were trying to do in warm up was get our body ready to race, right? Get the blood moving, get the muscles loose, limber, able to be explosive and quick and powerful. And then what are we going to do? Go sit? Most people, when they go sit, they sit like this, hunched over, and they got their toy and they're here for 30 minutes. And then you'll see them get up to race and they do this. These things are cracking, popping. They're like, You have done so much damage to your ability to race at that point that you have to go through a whole nother activation and mini warm up to get ready again. So is sitting really best? And I would say no. The way I do it is by going through some of the following. After getting out of warm up and getting my tech suit on, I will put my feet up the wall for about 10 minutes. And that feels so good, getting the blood moving, circulating. And I'll use a percussion massager, mostly on my legs, somewhat on my chest and my arms. And then for the remaining roughly 30 minutes of the time that I have, I'm on my feet doing little bits of activation like what you see here, except for maybe 5 minutes total. I'll sit maybe 2 or 3 times for 1 to 2 minutes, and that's about it. The rest of the time, I am swinging my arms, moving my legs, doing mobility work to get the range of motion that I need, doing dynamic stretching, some light stretching with short holds, even throwing in push-ups, springy jumps. Now, about 5 minutes before I race and I'm near the blocks, what I will do is I will throw in the following. A couple of jump push-ups where I'm really explosive, just like I'm going to need to be in the race with my breaststroke chute. And then I will also throw in a big jump. And you'll see a lot of the pro athletes do this. Caleb Dressel's very well known. You see pictures of him all the time with those knees all the way up in his chest, and he's way up high in the air. By doing one explosive jump, 1 or 2 explosive push-ups right before you race, you're essentially telling your body, hey, it's go time. And it is now in a position where it is ready to fire off quickly. So those are the 3 things on my checklist that every swimmer has to do between warm-up and racing to maximize their performance. I hope that this has helped you swim different, swim faster. Before we go, check out this cool little video we did introducing our newest design, Enter the Dragon, to celebrate the Lunar New Year. It is awesome. Go get yourself one at fikeswim.com and swim different.